Hey everyone, and welcome to another Hollow Knight Randomizer Bingo Tournament match. This one between OhkoXar and DFT. About to count racers in here, unless you're snailing me. Oh no, I got it. Okay.
So this is another winner's bracket match in the lower bracket of the tournament. DFT has been a racer since the Swiss rounds, and Oko is new as of the bracket phase, but has also been far and away one of the most practice-fiending runners out of, I think, anyone in the entire Hollow Knight Discord, so this should be a very good match between these two.
Yeah, this is exciting. It's an interesting board. You look at it initially and you don't see that many random goals. You see like Monomon, Rancid Eggs, like Dreamgate, and then like one extra mask. But there are a lot of like, you actually mentioned this when we were talking about it beforehand, but like kind of like sneaky random things, like Collector needing Love Key, and then Troopmaster Grim needing Grim Child. So there's a couple things on here that are a little bit like half random. Still something to do afterwards, but are still going to have to find some of these random checks.
Yeah, we have all of the one-off items except for Lantern required in some way with Trampass, Grimchild, Love Key. I suppose nothing with King's Brand, but it could go very late or it could go very early.
No King's Pass goal, or no King's Brand goal. Feels bad. As far as early goals here, the most apparent thing I'm seeing here is that 3 maps. You get the 1 map in Crossroads, and then 2 maps wherever else progression might take them. And then, yeah, also that False Knight Breeding Bollock. I'm sure that's what you're about to bring up.
Yep, and it looks like DFT is still electing to go back for Fury, and Oko gonna do the same. It's always a bit of a meme. Whenever one runner skips Fury, especially in service of rushing that goal, that's when it's like dash. So I'm glad we're gonna get that check from both players, even though it's just a mask shard.
Quarter of a goal, but not the most valuable. Still looking at board here. There are a lot of goals that are behind Dreamnail, which is interesting. Dreamnail White Lady, Dreamnail Willow's Meal, Failed Champ, obtaining Dreamgate, completing Path of Pain, defeating Elder Who, Enter God Home,
and Essence.
And then Essence. Yeah, wow, that's 8 behind Dreamnail. I've done 3 Lockout races in the past day, and I haven't found Dreamnail in any of them. So I'm hoping that these racers have better luck than I have.
Yeah, that's similar. I think I've been thinking about it, and I think I'm glad to see boards where Dreamnail is like the item to grab. For starters, because there's 4 of them as opposed to only 2 Mantis Claws. And secondly, because anything that requires Dreamnail is always going to require Dreamnail. There's no creative skip you can do with an early hidden station stag at Grubs. There's no creative skip you can do to get out of needing a Dreamnail, so like your opponent will know once you've found a Dreamnail, which I think is useful in a lockout setting.
Yeah, that's a cool way of thinking about it. I hadn't thought of it like that. Both racers checking Grubs. DFT is going to skip this first map here. We'll see how long it takes for them to go back for that hidden station stag. I don't think it puts that much in logic besides the check at the stag itself, but with it being at 1 grub, that could actually be intended progression.
Yeah, and it looked like Oko was eyeing the Moloch rush there, but either just missed the jump and continued on or decided better of it, so it looks like we won't be getting the fastest possible False Knight Moloch from either of these runners.
And that Unbreakable Strength being equipped by both runners here, I think is good if you're going to try and rush this goal. And thankfully they started with a large amount of Geo, so it's not like that scary to buy. With it only being 200.
I'm also glad, in that context, I'm glad to see something at 1 grub, because it probably lowers the likelihood that your intended progression out of Crossroads is at shops.
It will be a little bit scary if they do end up spending some money on shops, and then whatever is that hidden station is really, really important, and they don't have the 300 geo for it.
But I'm assuming this path for both runners is going to look like False Knight into Moloch or into donating the goal and grabbing one incidental grub on the way. With the Wraiths, this could be a fast damage race for this early game boss goal.
Yeah, and to note as well, OhkoXar's stream is a little bit more delayed than DFTz, so I imagine that they're actually like very, very close here.
All right, well that's one of our random one-off checks out of the way, so we won't be spending an eternity checking the Hive Mask Shard late game at least.
Yep, and that's also resting grounds access, so they'd have to be they don't have to be quite as worried about getting like locked out of Geo with whatever's at hidden station. So that should be good here. Lots of different ways for the racers to go, but it looks like both of them moving towards this this False Knight Moloch goal.
And I mean, when you've got the advantage of Wraiths this early, False Knight just kind of melts.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking here, we have access to 2 maps explicitly with Crossroads map and Resting Grounds map. But that third map's still going to be hiding until we find something else. I don't think get up to the base of the map, right?
I believe that needs some form of vertical.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. Clean fights here overall. DFT just slightly ahead here.
We've already seen a couple of ways out of Crossroads already, so I wonder if there will be yet more progression.
Yeah, like at this point, with how many things we've seen, I wouldn't be surprised if most of these checks are like only borderline helpful. But,
especially with the foreknowledge that you yourself generated the seed, I would be very surprised if we saw, like, Claw at VS.
Yeah, maybe. Both racers choosing to go up and get this VS check before continuing on to Moloch. Ismas.
Alright, so we now have 3 different avenues for getting out of Crossroads, although none of them are the most fun way to do it.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see which way they choose now. With this many paths, I'm expecting a divergence from the runners, but it's hard to say for sure when you don't know which way your opponent's actually going.
And both of them are going to route around to Moloch, it looks like. There's no other reason they'd open up that lever. Although no, Ohko actually baiting me, and heading right for Fungal, maybe, through the acid over here.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty decent call. You're in a place where you could get that one False Knight Moloch goal, but I'm not sure whether you were the fastest to it. But in this position, you're like not necessarily chasing another goal. I guess could get closer towards those maps, but also just like finding progression sooner, I think is like really, really valuable.
For sure. The one caveat to that I do want to mention is Moloch is in logic with the Howling Wraiths, and from the very last Lockout race I played, where Moloch was Claw and I last locationed it, if DFT gets this here and marks the goal off of that, it could be absolutely devastating for Ohko.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Alright, there's the mark.
Alas, it is just Spell Twister. Still good, but not an instant like leg up.
Speaking of which, we're looking at Leg Eater here, which these races are going to be looking towards buying out, and there is a very expensive Paylor there. Probably won't be seeing that being bought out until we get a couple Lem trips.
You got a couple ways to make money on this board. You got, it looks like 18 grubs called for by the board itself. And DFT, it looks like, content to stay in Crossroads, heading around to check shops. I wonder if he will go attempt either the air stall skip or the shade skip up to Salubra.
And Oko gonna head to resting grounds here. Does Ismas put like all of Green Path in Logic?
Because you can go around down through Fungal.
Yeah, like through... Oh, you can go down through Fungal, but you can also go down through Umu if you wanted. Or through, like, that path, correct?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It gets you right to, like, around Autopilot Seal.
Yeah,
DFT
okay,
is going for this shade skip. So rushing shops, despite it being, like we said, a relatively tamer board in terms of random checks, other than some sneaky one-offs.
Yeah, so lots of stuff already in Logic. It'll be interesting to see what they end up going for. And, like, lots of stuff in Logic, but actually, like, not that many goals available. Like, looking at it, and it's, like, maps. And then, like, I think they've already found 2 masks, so, like, maybe they could find, like, a full mask shard. And, like, if they get vertical, they can do un, but, like, there's really not that much that they can do right now, so it is kind of like a progression hunt for the first little while.
And whoever gets the first Dream Nail is just going to be in such a powerful position.
Yeah. Nothing, game-breaking at Salubra. Looks like DFT might be following to resting grounds here.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what this is. Maybe with grubs along the way and Stag Nest Stag at the Dream Nail cutscene.
That's a lot of checks.
Yeah, that's some free checks, and that gets a little bit faster way to Green Path.
DFT won't be too far behind on this. And that's, I believe, Oko's 3rd mask shard, so we're pretty close to that goal. I don't know if there's any in shops that he could buy to close that out, but... Oh. Or it will be donated at Resting Ground Stay.
Alright, sometimes the game just hands you 4 mask shards pretty quick.
Yeah, that's interesting to see that fast without having to buy any at shops. Oh, shop key.
Worth noting that DFT went straight from Salubra to this Tram Pass cutscene, so maybe he'll see that. He can actually afford it as opposed to Oko.
And there's intended right side. That dive at that Stag Nest Vessel Fragment means we do have right side access.
So now all we need is a dash to put the most annoying check in the game into Logic, which is the Dive Relic in Kingdom's Edge.
I just don't check that. It's just I'm like if this is all I have, I'm not going there. I will break Logic before I check that.
Hey, now it's guaranteed to be Dream Nail.
Oh boy. I hope I didn't just do that to the racers. If I did, I apologize in advance.
So DFT is still going to be falling behind a little bit. I wonder what Oko's play here is. He looks content to keep checking out all of Cliffs. I imagine while you're in the area, you might as well do Boulder Shell and head into Upper Green Path because it's all fairly quick. But then at that point, I'd be surprised if he didn't go into right side. And maybe he stops this route early and continues on sooner.
Yeah, we're in a position where, like, there are a lot of potential things to do with Geo. Like, we still haven't seen that hidden station stag check. Shop key exists at Stag Nest Stag, which is 300, which is a lot. And then we also have, like, the maps to be purchased. So I think, like, going right side wouldn't be the worst idea, just to, like, have Lem available, so you're not putting yourself in a position where you actually just have to farm Geo.
Yep, speaking of Geo, Oko gonna quickly wart back to Dirtmouth and grab those maps up. DFT also completing his first extra mask and can probably conclude that he's following Oko at this point.
Have we seen what's at Sly? Oh, DFT might be going back for it now. Ooh, that's a lot of geo. Okay, that kind of like solves a few of those worries. Might see the shopkeeper's key check from him then.
And we've got a simple key. It's a shame we already have logical right side, otherwise I'd be praying for City Crest.
Oh boy. So it looks like DFT gonna go pick up Hidden Station Stag here. So he'll be in a position where he can check a couple of these stags out, check the Stag Nest Stag, check Hidden Station Stag, and see what some of these checks are. Gets it on his second try. So hard to remember where stuff is at Grubs.
Yeah, that is a memory power that I simply lack. Just a vessel fragment, so the one grub was unfortunately a bit of a bait. But keep your eyes peeled on this area for when they get sea dash from somewhere.
Oh boy. There's Shopkeeper's Key. Oh, that's Monomon. Yep, that's a goal.
Oko pulling one of the random goals out. It's, you know, happens from time to time. And DFT gonna find his dive.
So we have two of the more, like, obvious random goals off the board now. We really just have, like, Rancid Eggs and Dreamgate as our only two other, like, obtains. Like we mentioned earlier, still gonna have to look for, like, Trampasp, which they found, and Grimchild. So there's not actually that much more random on here besides just, like, finding progression.
And worth noting that DFT missing the elevator up out of Stag Nest decides, rather than wait for it, he's just going to go right ahead on into right side.
Did we see him check Shopkeeper's Key or no? I don't think so, right?
He did not, no. So we'll have to wait for him to remember it and return to Dirtmouth sometime later. I'm pretty sure we've seen a couple of Rancid Eggs already between our shops, so this could be a play to go to Lem and get some Geo, and then hopefully return through shops to just grab that goal while it's still available. And finding a nice VS in Crypts isn't too bad.
I always, I don't know, with things that are in sets of 3 in this game, I'm always like, okay, we found all 3 Dreamers, let's go to Black Egg. Found all 3 Nail Arts, you know, let's go and check Nail Master's Glory. I see that 3 spells, and I feel like there's something that we have to check, but it's just not the case with the spells.
What we have to check is the Grim fight, but we need Grimchild first.
That's true. Sprint Master for DFT. Gonna be nice while they don't have dash to be able to move around at least a little bit faster, a little bit cleaner.
And responding to chat, Flukemarm is not yet in Logic because we are on Easy, and with the recent Fluke nerfs from a couple of randomizer patches ago, you need a 2nd level Fireball or a 2nd level Wraiths in order to put Flukemarm in Logic on Easy.
So we're getting the well check here from Oko. It's a little bit awkward without vertical. Yeah, gonna take the health reset on the fly. Oh, no, just gonna move on.
Right, and DFT, with the foresight to do this gauntlet, it always feels bad to skip it, but usually when you're down here for the first time, you have very little in the way of spells, so I really appreciate him taking the spell advantage that he has, and just the amount of spells that he has, and getting it while he's on his first trip here, because this always sucks to have to come back for.
Ooh, and it's definitely rewarded. That is a very good find. And there's Love Key. So that's access to Collector.
2 out of 3 down.
Might be seeing some boss fights relatively soon.
Oh, 3 out of 3 down. I missed the Grimchild pickup at first. Thank you for that.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
let's see.
first dash.
All right, so DFT, despite the 2-goal deficit, has a lot he can do here.
Oh,
He
please.
doesn't die.
Okay. It's going to take it safe. Good play. Yeah, definitely better set up for things now that he's got that dash and has access to that Troopmaster Grim. I'm still curious about that Shopkeeper's Key, but I think it's less relevant now that you've got the stuff that... Oh, well, Oko might be giving us the content.
I have to hope that DFT is headed back at Dirtmouth Way after grabbing some Geo, because there's a lot of reasons for him to head in that direction between Shopkey and Grimchild.
Gotta take the long way to Salubra and Sly when the infection's there. Chooses to warp to the tram bench, which I think is a good play.
It's actually pretty slick. I like that. Yeah, and Grim is himself, the fight is in logic. I believe Grim just has default boss logic, so any 2 spell levels are enough to do it. Only Flukemarm has the nerfed boss plus logic on easy. That's because of how awful that fight is to do with Nail 0 vs Dive.
Yeah, that sounds a little bit rough.
Just ask one Acrid Stingray. Who sacrificed a race that the fluke logic might change.
We are, Whoa! What? I didn't know that was a thing. That was the craziest thing. I was like, Oko taking like he's like, I'm gonna make this boss fight harder for myself. Obviously, probably meant to leave the the Vengefly outside. But like, yeah, I didn't know that you could kill Gruzmother with the infected Vengefly. Like, it looked like it did so much damage. He hadn't even really hit Gruzmother that much yet. Like that's massive brain.
I wonder how much damage that actually does to enemies. DFT is also worth noting, picked up a second dash at Rafters. Shadecloak doesn't do like a whole lot for you. That puts Dreamnail White Lady as an available goal, but that's much further down the line because you're missing several other pieces of that.
Oh, chat's saying it's an instant kill from full life. Holy.
Alright, casual, what is that? 90 damage explosion. And there's Locus's favorite item.
Woohoo! We're going to Abyss. We got the Hidden Station Stag. We got the King's Brand. I believe they... Am I misremembering them having a Lifeblood Charm? I feel like I remember them having a Lifeblood Charm.
I'm pretty confident we've seen at least one.
Doesn't matter without Vertical, but Abyss Streak in Logic. Pretty happy about that one.
And DFT immediately pivoting towards buying out Leg Eater, it looks like. I wonder how close he is to this. I know there was at least one really expensive item. Looks like 2. That Charm Notch also looks pricey.
Oko gonna clean up Hornet here.
And our runners looking like they might slowly start to converge here if Oko continues to move towards lower green path, and DFT looks like he's going to be walking around.
Was the simple key in... The simple key was in Cliffs, right?
Yes, I believe so. Right outside the Grim Tent, I think.
Ooh.
That's big.
That's Fluke Marmon logic. With what we've seen. Their first intended vertical could be at Fluke Marm. I was gonna say, like, I feel like with both of these racers, what they're doing, I feel like it's kind of pointing to waterways. I can't imagine there'll be much more progression in fungal or green path. I imagine it will have to do with right side, and I think that key that DFT is missing might be the key to progression.
Yeah, I mean, there are just a lot of like really entertaining, kind of spicy one-offs as well. Like my money's on quietly vertical at the damage boost relic in Fog Canyon, with the bosses being like very high-profile baits.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. Or I guess Grim, yeah, Grim and Fluke being the other things on the list.
So Oko gonna start catching up with his first VS. And it looks like this might be the Grim fight.
Yeah, with Shade Soul, this is a pretty decent fight. Shade Soul, Shade Cloak, like this should get cleaned up pretty quickly. Chat, nail arts at Grim, Fluke, and Abyss, Clyde, and MG.
We have seen. Oh my god!
Never mind.
That'll do it. Not even gonna stick around for the Troop Master Grim goal. Just gonna bounce out to something else. So even ignoring the fact that we have already seen Claw, we've seen a nail art at, I believe, 870 essence, so don't get your hopes up for an NMG check this seed.
So it's going to come back to the fight here. I'm curious whether Oko's going to take the time to do this arena. Oh, that's huge. That's huge, because that's where Grimchild is, and that's where the Claw is. So this is a check that you're not likely to come back for. Which means that DFTz is going to have some space here to kind of make an advantage.
Please warp back to your bench, DFT. Don't soft lock here.
Having troubles with Grimchild. Is going to warp out.
Yeah, it looks like he did not make his bench interactable. I may message him to let him know to warp to the bench so that he actually sits down on it. But for right now, he's pivoting somewhere else. Looks like we're getting the rest of Fungal checked out.
I'm looking at the board here. I'm curious what... Oh, this is probably Bread and Sly.
That makes sense.
Would be my guess. As well as maybe progress towards Green Path and Fungal Grubs is now available as well.
Oh, that is true. All of that is logic now. That said, he's skipping right over one Easy Grub and Fungal, so I'm assuming we're tunneling Bretta Sly here.
Yeah, maybe.
As it looks like Oko is getting ready to make you a very happy commentator, maybe? We're dangerously close to checking Abyss Streak, it looks like.
Gonna get Tram Bench here. I think that's smart. No. Yeah, I knew better than to get too excited. Not gonna see it yet.
There will come a time.
Eventually. Alright, DFT's gonna make his way down to Bretta here. It's interesting because this will tell Oko that they've missed something. But with how much of the map is open, like I don't think you'll really be able to tell where, and you don't have that much knowledge on DFT because the last thing you've seen is False Knight Moloch. So there's so many different places DFT could be by now. Oh.
C-Dash.
That might bait Oko into going for that Basin Simple key, depending on what stuff he checks. Killing Grim and getting that goal would be huge. Might discourage Oko from checking it. Well, he can't. Oko can't check it anyways because he doesn't have Grimchild. So unless you mean like him getting Dream Nail and then going and lighting the lantern, then maybe. But that isn't the first thing that, like, if I get Dream Nail on the board, or if I get Dream Nail, the first thing I'm gonna do isn't gonna be to go light the lantern. It's gonna be to like start knocking off some of these Dream Nail goals. So I actually don't even mind that he's putting off this Grim fight.
Yeah, so knocking off Bretta Slide, doing quick checks instead of... I guess there's nothing else for him at this point. I was like, Elder Who's there, but we still have not found a Dream Nail yet. This could be a move towards City of Tears Grubs, since he's got all the equipment for that.
Yeah, I think City of Tears Grubs and the Lore Tablets and Soul Sanctum go nicely together. I'd hope he... Like, as much as it pains me to say this, I hope he doesn't do the Watcher Knights fight.
Yeah, there's just a whole lot to do.
Yeah, a little bit too slow with how much you have. So we'll see. I'd like to see him get the grub and just kind of dip out.
And check Shape of On also hiding on the board with Ismas and Vertical. That's pretty free at this point relative to some of the crazier ways you might try and get that goal.
Does DFT have Green Path Stag? I feel like he doesn't. So that one might be a little bit more out of the way.
Yeah, it's certainly less locationally free for him than Oko, but he does have Stag Nest Stag or Claw, and so he can just come down to Upper Green Path from Cliffs pretty easily.
Yeah, that's true. I do like this grub play, though, the grub and lore tablets play. It does take a little bit longer, but it is 2 goals at once. So I think you're in a pretty good spot here.
Yeah, and other things that can still be done. Check Isma's Tier is theoretically doable right now, with some creative spike tunneling. And that's about it. Like, you can pick a love key up to Collector, but I think only Oko has the love key.
Mm-hmm.
And who does Collector right now?
Yeah, it does not seem like the most most enjoyable fight, given where they are. You gotta get the lore tablet. Yep, getting the lore tablet. Might be uninformed about the way where you don't have to fight the soul warrior.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people, I think, assume that you need nail arts in order to get the first lever skip, but the first lever in Soul Sanctum, everyone, and for hopefully DFT on the rewatch, you can hit from underneath the floor, even with just base nail and no length, and it will still trigger, so you never have to fight that first soul warrior unless you're going for the goal.
That being said, did definitely clean up that soul warrior pretty quickly. Shade Soul making quick work of it with a couple of Shade Soul doubles. Chat's mentioning that we can get to Ismas from a lower tram as well, with Claw.
Oh yeah, Claw Ismas, that's exactly what you need.
Yep, if I was racing this, I would have missed that. I completely forgot that you could even get into Waterways or Ismas backwards like that.
Ismas backwards is really only something that's easy to think about if you've got Waterways grubs on the board, because that implores you to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
And Oko is starting to try and figure out what crazy one-off check he missed a claw at. I like this play. Elegant Key is something for sure, but still not what you're looking for at this point.
Yeah, Oko collecting all the keys. It's nice though, this like early buffer from Oko for those like early 3 goals is making it so that like even though Oko is behind here on progression and like doesn't really know where Claw is, you have some time to try and figure that sort of stuff out. So that early advantage that he worked for is now kind of working back in his favor.
Yeah, and
saying,
if Oko doesn't die here,
Shade Soul.
So yeah, Oko now caught up on damage. Still, like we said when Oko first passed it, very hard to come back to that King Station gauntlet.
Yeah, and I feel like it's kind of a Fury of the Fallen moment where it's like, okay, if both players go and check that gauntlet, like there's nothing there. But in scenarios like this, I've seen it happen too often where one person checks it and the other one doesn't, and then something gets stranded out there. Should be seeing... Oh, sorry, go for it.
Oko's headed back to shops. I wonder if this is just an attempt at... Oh, he's got infection, so infection skip to right side. He's got legitimate access, though, with dive. Never mind. I was like...
Yeah, I think this is actually just the Salubra check. I don't think he's checked Salubra yet.
And DFT gonna polish off those Soul Sanctum lore tablets.
Yep, and has got the harder grubs from City of Tears out of the way. That D-Dark going to be very nice. Yeah, going for that fake dive. That one's really hard.
Yeah, it's super finicky.
So there's that grub. Did he actually get the one in Watcher Spire? I feel like no.
I think he just ran right to Soul Master. And Oko doing a very good job of getting all of the easy one-off checks with the movement he has available, other than the one that he needs for Claw.
Yeah, we're getting to the point for Oko where there's not that much left in logic.
I mean, I don't know about that. He's got some Kingdom's Edge stuff. He's got Dash, Dive, and Ismas. He's got Fog Canyon stuff. There's still places that could draw his attention.
It's like it's one check in Kingdom's Edge, one check in Fog Canyon, and then like Simple Key Basin. Oh, Pleasure House, I guess now.
Oh, and Waterways, he hasn't even opened.
Oh yeah, Waterways is actually big still. And Abyss, yeah.
Oko's got places to run, unfortunately. I honestly think that not doing the Grim fight before marking off these Claws goals might be unironically good for DFT, because it's keeping Oko running around the whole map.
Yeah. We'll see if he gets bailed out by maybe a dupe or some other form of progression. Maybe Wings will be somewhere around.
Or even a Dream Nail would be huge.
Yeah, Dream Nail would be big. Dream Nail against Vertical would be interesting. Dupe C-Dash. Not what you want to see here. Ooh, that's what I want to see. Might not be what our racers want to see.
The Abyss keeps getting stronger every time.
Alright, those are the City of Tears grubs out of the way. For DFT. See where he heads to now.
Helma Delkin.
At this point, curious what he wants to grab. Check Shape of Un or check Ismas via Tram. Both look pretty appealing. 4 Rancid Eggs is probably pretty doable. He's got a Glut of Geo.
Oh, is changing his mind. Gonna go do this Grim fight. I want a seed where like Claw is at Grimchild, and then like Duke Claw is behind Grimchild, like behind the Grim fight. The TFT.
DFT warp to the bench.
You can warp. It's a weird position to be in as a commentator to watch that happening. Because I don't know whether we should be telling them or whether we should be leaving it.
DFT looks like he intends to go through some other rooms right now. As Oko continues to check out City. So DFT moving around to green path, so we're going to see a little bit of some repeated checks from his end. I'm assuming this is progress towards checking shape of on. Oko striking completely out in waterways so far.
Oh. That's interesting. We now have a wings versus claw seed.
Alright, that's something. Notably, that still, Oko should know that that's not the progression that DFT found, because City of Tears Grubs is hard claw locked. You need claw for the last grub in Sanctum, and Bretta Sly is pretty strongly claw locked. You'd much rather have it than anything else. With the wings, is going to take advantage of that for Shape of On, so is going to actually snipe DFT out of this by just a little bit, it looks like.
Alright, and that's gonna bring us to 4-4.
Just as DFT enters the Lake of On. Thankfully, Sports Room not required for anything on this board.
Oko going to get these other two checks here in Crypt. Maybe goes back for the gauntlet here.
Probably pretty big. DFT still lacking both simple keys.
Yeah, I imagine it's going to be a while before DFT finds vertical. Or sorry, not vertical, but wings.
And there's a Dream Nail. That's massive.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That is a very big deal. So Elder Who is probably the fastest thing here for Oko, which we're gonna see immediately. Enter Godhome's gonna be pretty quick too. Has that Waterways bench. Dreamnail Willow's Meal should be super fast as well. Don't know whether Oko has Queen Station bench, but that's something that should be done.
Looks like he's running for Elder Who first, maybe to hide the wings for a little bit longer.
Elder Who somewhat cooperating. As I say that.
Slight bit of spoiler from the delay on Oka's side, but yeah, gonna get Elder Who. I imagine this is the runaround to get Queen's Station and Willow's Meal.
Ohko is headed where? Oh, this might be Green Path and Fungal Grubs.
That's also a good thing to snatch up before DFT can get it.
I don't think you have to do E-Pogo. Can't you just dash jump? Yeah,
No, for the Spore Shroom Grub, you'll need to pogo off of that one guy's explosion.
Yes. Whenever I hear E-Pogo, I always think of the any percent E-Pogo, and I was like, I feel like you could do it without.
But yeah, he, as Chat points out, he could also go all the way around from Queen's Gardens if that skip is beyond him, but I would be surprised if he doesn't at least attempt that.
This looks like the Isma's check here from DFT. Good spike tunnel there, pretty clean.
Yeah, Crossroads Stag, not what you want to see at this point.
And that's going to bring us to 5-5. But I think Ohko's actually in a pretty good spot here. It was looking kind of spooky for a little while, but with that wings and that dream nail as well, definitely pulling things back. This should be fungal green path grubs before long. I do like going for this rather than going for like dream nail gated goals. Just because you can kind of assume that your opponent does not have dream nail, hasn't marked anything to do with it. This one I think you should just get out of the way. So this one's good, but then focusing on stuff that you think your opponent's not going to have access to, I think is it's a really, really good way to play. Trying to get the goals away from them that you know that they have access to, and then doing the stuff afterwards that you know that you only have access to.
And with the Cell to Lem, I bet this is trying to clean up some Rancid Eggs, or maybe buy out Leg Eater.
No, I don't think you can do it like that. This is going to be tight. Ooh, it does get it nice.
That was pretty clean, yeah.
It's a little bit tougher if you don't happen to get the like little husk up on the little ledge there, but definitely still doable. And there we have the fungal and green path grubs. 7-5 at the moment. With a lot more goals available too, like that failed champion 500 essence combo is looking kind of appealing. Could get to failed champion. Might be a little bit of a tough fight right now, but Shade Soul definitely helps.
Curious what we're equipping all these charms for. Is this Fluke Marm? Alright, if this is Claw.
This could be Enter Godhome. I wouldn't be surprised if Ohko just skips right past Fluke and just goes to get that goal out of the way. I think that's a good one too. Like this is one that DFT has had available for a little while, and just hasn't really gone for it.
So where are we getting from DFT? Is this into Crystal Peak?
Yeah, this might be Peak. I think with what he has, he can get all of the Sea Peak scrubs.
You technically need Lantern for the D-Dark one, but I would trust that DFT might know the Dark Rune. And beyond that, yeah, I think with Dive, Claw, and C-Dash, you can pick up everything else.
Also a pretty dense area for checks. I don't think this is the worst call. I just think it takes a long time for the one goal when you have a lot of other stuff on the board here that you might be able to get. Like I really, really do like that failed champ 5 distance combo. And then also like, I think even Hive Mask Shard might be faster. Might be a little bit awkward getting through Hive without wings, but definitely get there.
And as Ohko's struggling a little bit with the pogos required to get up through this maze.
Oh, almost gets it.
Oh, that's potentially very bad.
Oh, he's gonna make it up this time, but...
At what cost?
Ooh, okay. Does make it through. He's gonna get this goal.
It's DFT, yep, just starting the Sea Peak Scrubs route. Oh no.
Well, we know where Lantern is now.
So smart of DFT to just run down here anyway.
When can you mark the God home goal?
All of the area-based goals are once you see the text appear on screen, so we are gonna have to unmark that, unfortunately.
Yeah. I was gonna say. Let me unmark it real quick.
And I will DM Ohko.
I'm just gonna put it in bingo chat.
Okay. As DFT takes an unfortunate death in Peaks, so both runners perhaps
Is headed to Hive here. I think this is a pretty okay trip with wings. I feel like I'd rather have wings than just claw to get through there.
So with this, DFT gonna continue back at the point at which he died. Ohko, yeah, I think I agree with you in that having wings is not too bad for Hive. Having claw only can lead to some scary things. And Ohko turning right back around to formally enter Godhome.
Yeah, and it is unfortunate. Like, I see people in chat being like, you know, I feel like it's different because he's in God Home. And like technically in this scenario, it's not really going to make a difference besides the time loss. But there are scenarios where like 2 people could be going for this goal at the same time, and like one person marks it early. So I feel like on principle it's important to kind of like uphold the rules.
And in this case, it shouldn't matter because DFT is still out of all dream nails. I'll go with a much cleaner second visit there. So I anticipate we'll be remarking this goal in fairly short order.
Yep, and there it goes.
There's the got home text. All right, so we're officially at 8-5, I believe. 9-5, rather. Because Oko quietly obtaining his 4th rancid egg. En route.
It's a little bit scary without Dream Nail. Oh, if you got 1 health.
Yeah.
Right there.
That's such a rough place to die. As Oko doing the customary, getting bullied a little bit by bees.
Yep. It's an important tradition when you go to Hive. Let the bees bully you a little bit. He'll be fine.
Yeah, the worst is far and away trying to herd Big B on over without Hive Blood. Oko at least has enough spells that if he wants to, he can just kill all of the bees and then try and herd Big B in peace.
I like calling the big guy Nathaniel.
I can see that. He looks sort of like a Nathaniel.
He just hangs out. We'll have to see how Oko does herding him over into the wall. Oh, DFT just actually setting up the shades. Never mind. I was gonna say the shade skip to CG2, but
Could have been the Galaxy Brain play, but I think it was just an unfortunate death.
yeah, we'll have to see what ends up being at CG2 after the race. If there's another Dream Nail there, might have actually been important.
But that would be so unfortunate. Yeah, Oko playing this very safe and killing as many bees as he can to make the Big B ranching a little bit easier.
These bees have so much health too, like even the tiny ones. Like, it's crazy to me that like the spiders in Deep Nest have like 20 health, and then like the tiny bees have like, I don't know if it's about the same.
I think it's actually more. I think it's like 30 or 35.
Yeah, like, it's crazy. And then that's not even talking about the big ones. Like those ones are freaking crazy damage.
Like the littlest bees have less health than a primal aspid, but only like just. So that's going to be Hive Mask Shard, bringing Oko within spitting distance of the finish. Looks like Failed Champ 500 Essence is probably the next nicest thing to go for. Or he could be going out to Collector. Who knows?
Yeah, I think Collector into that Failed Champ 500 Essence is a pretty like clean way to finish off the race. Or I guess Collector into the Failed Champ 500 Essence.
Now there's, I don't know what else we'd be doing hanging around Kingdom's Edge for. I'm not a fan of Collector on Nail Zero, but if you're gonna do Collector on Nail Zero, having Shade Soul, a Wraiths, and a Dive is not a bad way to do it.
I'm pretty sure you could do Dream Nail White Lady without Claw, but he would have to go all the way around Queen's, I believe. I don't think he has Queen's Garden Stag, which would take a very, very long time.
No, he has Queen's Garden Stag because that's where King's Brand was.
Oh, okay, well then never mind. That is a much better play than that.
And I'm definitely confused by the Hornet 2 entrance, but it's just a bait, so. assuming this is going to be Collector. It's DFT, still rounding out peaks.
Oh, poor tiny Hopper. He just gets pushed into the spikes.
That's one nail art at the fun cursed check. So
You seeing Markoth for a bit of this essence? I wonder if this is going to be Markoth and failed champ.
having done Who, that gets you there, so there are also definitely easier Dream Warriors that you could do besides Markov to do this, but
They are mine.
Maybe he's just not thinking about the failed champ. Maybe he's thinking about doing like Markoth and Gorb or something. We need a little bit more damage, I think, to face tank Markoth. It does have actually a decent amount of health. I guess more damage or more health, either or.
Yeah, this is always such a spooky fight on the last little bit, but he does pull through. And DFT headed for the D-Dart grub with some inventive C-dashes on this dark room. I am not familiar with how you get through this dark room with C-dash, and looks like taking an unfortunate fall and resetting, so maybe a little bit.
Okay, yeah, Oko making his way into the QG stag here. I'm guessing this is the Marmu play to clean up this essence goal. Gonna play volleyball with our favorite spherical friend.
Yeah, with Nail Zero and Shade Soul, this is probably a quick fight. You can even face tank Marmu a little bit more effectively than you can face tank Markov.
Getting a little bit low on health here. I mean, the face tanking, I mean, we're talking about it, but a little bit spooked. Nope, does finish it out. That's good.
So that'll be 500 essence in pretty quick succession here. And I'm assuming we move on to Trader Lord.
Yep, so that's 11.
I have never seen this strategy for the C-Peaks Darkroom of going up to that top wall and crystal dashing over. And it looks like the Crystal Hunters are just incredible bullies for that strategy.
I'm watching very closely and trying to absorb this strat so I can steal it for myself.
Alright, he's through.
And that did look pretty clean.
Oko catching up on damage here a little bit, still out of Shriek, but with the Essence rewards in pretty good shape to wrap up the game here pretty quick-like.
Yeah, I think Dreamnail White Lady or Collector, and then... Or I guess both of those could end it, and then... Failed Champ if you wanted to.
I believe DFT is just missing the... That's cute for Oko.
Oko looking up and down.
No Locus is on commentary. Should I go for it?
Where's the brand?
Oh boy.
Oh, God.
I believe DFT is just missing the northernmost grub in Crystal Peaks, the one by Crown.
Oko might be making the Abyss play here. No, Overcharm! Get the Lifeblood Core room too. I don't really like the Abyss play. Yeah, it hurts to say that. 2 wings and White Palace.
God.
Whoa. Oh yeah, he's calling an audible here.
Like
No
I
Abyss play.
Yeah, I understand wanting to humor us and check the Abyss, but you've got like a pretty locked up static path to victory here. And as fun as dawdling for the Abyss would be, that's less effective at winning than doing Failed Champion and Trader Lord.
Yeah, exactly. I think when you've got a static path to victory, it's definitely the best play just to like take that and force your opponent to try and keep up with the tempo.
Or in DFT's case, to find any Dream Nail as he picks up his 7th goal.
I wonder if Duke Claw is claw locked. Duke Wings is wings locked.
Yeah, for how much of the seed we have seen already, I have to imagine that that's the case.
Gotcha.
So if you're DFT, like what bails you out here? Like, I guess Dream Nail would help a lot. Joni's Blessing would be a really, really good charm find. And then like at a certain point you might just have to do Failed Champ. Like,
yeah, it looks like Oko's grabbing nail upgrades to make the last leg of bosses easier, which makes sense. Especially for Failed Champion. I love having nail upgrades for that. I mean, most of these bosses left on the board. Trader Lord, Failed Champ, Collector. Nail upgrades go a long way on that.
yeah, and I really like this too in the sense of like, even if DFT is doing one of those 3 boss goals, and he marks one while you're getting nail upgrades, then you have nail upgrades to just like knock the other 2 out without any fear of getting sniped on them.
Yeah. Yeah, so in order to contest this, DFT needs to find a Dream Nail like Ghost Taste. And also being out the Love Key for Collector makes this considerably harder.
Yeah. So this looks like it's the Collector play. I think this is a really good idea.
I believe with Nail 2 Strength, you one-shot all of the minions.
That is there's a nice quality of life boost for that boss fight.
Yeah.
I'm curious where all the other Dream Nails are. We've really only seen one.
Yeah, and it's not like there are that many Dream Nail locked places to hide a Dream Nail, although we haven't really seen any of those. We know there's not one at Essence.
Wouldn't it be crazy if there was like a seed that there's one Dream Nail somewhere and then the other 3 Dream Nails were just at the Dreamers?
I mean, ordinarily, in vanilla, all of your Dream Nail upgrades are locked behind your first Dream Nail.
That's true.
DFT electing to play a little bit of checkers and at long last go to Howling Cliffs.
We'll find that simple key, but I don't think there was much else here that was that exciting.
And with Enter Godhome marked, incidentally, twice by Oko, I find it very hard to believe that he's going to go all that way to find Lantern, which doesn't even get him much, but that's the only like exciting thing that we saw in Waterways or with simple keys.
I'm not really sure what Oko could still be looking for here. Like, I'm trying to think of... Like, I guess you could be looking for Grimchild, or you could be looking for the Dream Nail. But, like, that's really all you have to find at this point. I feel like you have bosses, you got your nail upgrades, like just go knock out these bosses, just go do it.
Yeah, like as someone who I find I am constantly timid with regards to bosses myself. Oh, there's a dream nail at Call of 2. Nice. Like, you have to ask yourself the question, do I realistically think this is going to get better for me if I put it off later? And like, you've already got 2 upgraded spells, nailed 2, and precious few random checks left on the board at all, and you don't want to do Colo 2 more than you want to do Collector. Like, at this point, it's not going to get any better for you in the future, so you might as well just rush it. This is also true from chat. The paths to Collector and Failed Champ with Wings Only and no Claw are both fairly non-intuitive and not on easy, I believe.
No. You're double jumping too early. Let yourself get to your full height, please. Oh, that was late. Early. You can make this jump, you just have to wait. No! Please, no, you can... Wait. You can do that jump, right?
There's a later one that I think requires like a shade skip or something, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's just an Apex double jump. To actually get the Collector's map check is the one that's more difficult, but sure enough...
You can do the fight, right?
Yeah, you can do the fight. Start in Call of 2, abandon in Call of 2.
This... Go Mask Shard?
Imagine if this was a dream nail.
I'm having trouble going from like, okay, you know what, let's do a goal, let's get this other goal, actually let's do Go Mask Shard. Like, I wouldn't even remember this.
He knows Claw is somewhere, and it's been somewhere for a pretty long while, and even though the seed opened up very quickly, like, it's, if you're really tunneling in on needing Claw to finish, even though he does not, you can assume that your search space for Claw is relatively limited. And DFT also going to muscle his way through Kingdom's Edge. I wonder if he'll check all the way up to see the Dream Nail at Coliseum. And from DFT's perspective, he's in a much worse position with regards to putting that stuff off. And he needs a first Dream Nail. So I wonder if he makes it up that far, he actually goes for Call of 2 or not.
Yeah, it's a little bit scary when it's not like specifically a goal, but like it would give him access to doing these bosses that Ohko's putting off for so long. Like you could do that White Lady, you could fight Failed Champ. Could put you in a position to kind of swing back this race.
And also, I would feel especially bad if there is anything at the Grim fight check, because that is well within DFT's capacity, and he's just not been able to get Grimchild to cooperate with him.
So I think this is a bait. Ohko is going down to Abyss, which I appreciate a lot, but even if you get all the checks in Abyss, like what is the best thing you can find? I guess Duke Claw?
Or another Dream Nail?
Yeah, Duke Claw or another Dream Nail. Yeah, that's true. So there's stuff here. Or Joni's, yeah. For the 10 Lifeblood masks. But I feel like it's not gonna happen. I imagine that like one of the Dream Nails is buried somewhere in Dark Deep Nest behind that lantern.
That feels fitting and appropriate for this seed.
Yeah, that's just like what my lizard brain is telling me.
So DFT gonna make quick work of these Mantis Lords with fully upgraded spells.
And Nail 2.
DFT still on base nail, but still shouldn't be that big of a time difference.
I was looking at the 2 simple keys, and I saw the 2 and the left side of the tracker, and I was like, oh yeah, that means Nail 2.
So, we're gonna clear out the Abyss, pretty much. No Dreamgate means this takes an unfortunately long while, so it gives DFT a couple more opportunities to find his way back into this.
Boy. Did Ohko actually... I thought Ohko overcharmed, but that only did 1 damage.
My guess is on picking up a charm... No, on picking up a charm, he got an extra notch. And so he stopped being overcharmed. That's the Salubra QOL notches working their magic. And so far,
looking for...
yeah, Mantis Lords also a bust.
Not what you're looking for. Yeah, and these Abyss checks also, like, could take quite a while without Dreamgate or Claw. Like, him going down for that Birthplace Egg means he can't come back up with Claw. There's Dash Master for DFT.
He's finally gone back for Bretta. We have our last chance for him to it how to make Grim work, because that could be very, very big at this point, but it looks like he's resigned on that goal, which is really unfortunate, but warping away.
He's gonna find this King's Brand. Doesn't have that much stuff for Abyss. I can't imagine. Oh, dude.
Well, that's pretty big.
Yeah. I was like, wait, why are we doing call-on now?
I guess if you really rather have Dreamgate than failed champion, like I guess.
Wait, where? Oh, this is Collector. This is Collector. Just.
Did he not get Hornet 2 bench? I find it hard to believe that Kalo is faster to get down from.
I thought we were getting the Kalo too. I was like, oh man, like you get Claw, like, and you go to Kalo. Like, why wouldn't you just do Kalo originally? But he's gonna make his way down. Is gonna be on lower health for the start of the fight. He's tanked a couple hits here.
Once you got Claw, you can just open the shortcut and backtrack to King's Station if you really need to. That's not too bad.
That's true. Okay, gets a little bit of soul here. Okay, we'll dodge the Bellfly.
Yeah, what you don't want to do is die on your way to Tower of Love.
That tiny hopper is like, no, I'm out of here. Does not choose to dream nail that bench fly. Just chooses to put it out of its misery. Oh, I love Collector.
Collector is either a very fun fight or a very, very infuriating fight, and it depends pretty much entirely on what your loadout is walking into the fight. Ohko should have no trouble here. L2 strength, quick slash, and mostly upgraded spells.
I wish my laugh was just Collector's laugh. He's so happy.
He has a completely endless supply of friends to keep him company. What more could you ask for?
Oh, what a happy existence. Congratulations, Collector. I'm happy for you. Well, not happy that you just got eliminated, but...
That was a swift and brutal... Now, alright, I'm ready. Dreamnail at Collector's map. It's time.
Great slash. We're one nail art away.
You know where that nail art is.
Essence.
So
very,
just
very high essence.
grind like 400 more essence. Don't even worry about it. Obviously, Dreamnail at NMG. DFTz, meanwhile, in full Dreamnail hunt mode, to his immense credit, doing Watcher Knights. Shouldn't be too bad a fight also with his upgrade suite.
Alright, very clean Watcher Knights fight. They are out of here. Can't imagine that there's anything here that could bail DFT out at this point. Even if he does find a Dreamnail here,
it's a little late for that, yeah.
Yeah, it'll just kind of happen.
I think the real worst case scenario is if there was a Dreamnail at a Grim fight, because that would suck. This is a very clean Trader Lord fight from Oko. I expect we're gonna get GG in quick order here.
And yep, that is GG. A little bit delayed on stream, but there it is. We'll see what's here.
Alright,
another fragment. Vanilla fragment.
You love that. Alright, I've already got the spoiler log for this seed ready to go, so we'll invite the runners in here for some post-game interviews, and we'll see where those other Dreamnails were.
GG DFT.
Hello. Hey. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's 4 Dreamnails, right?
There are.
Yeah, there are 4 Dreamnails.
Okay.
We saw 2 of them total.
Just making sure.
we saw 2, and 1 was at Coliseum 2, so it looked like it was pretty short stock, this seed.
Do we remember where the first one was?
It was in Crypt. I believe it was one of the Crypt checks that required vertical.
I went without
yeah.
claw. That makes sense.
And then Oko didn't find Claw until very late because he never checked the King's Station Gauntlet to get Grimchild, so he got his Claw in Abyss towards like the very, very end of that seed.
Oh wow.
Yo.
Hey Oko, GG's.
GG's. I was not aware I'd won.
Oh, the amount of goals.
Alright, let's find us some Dreamnails. So the first intended Dreamnail was at alright, props to my prophecy skills, was at the Hallownest Seal Fog Canyon East. That's the damage boost relic.
You called that.
Oh, that was the check I was going to do. That was quick.
So that's the first call. We saw Dreamnail in Crypt, and I believe the Soul Eater check. We saw Dream Nail in Coliseum 2, and the fourth Dream Nail was at Pale Ore Basin.
So pretty spread out.
I was headed that way, so I would have finally got it. But
Yeah, at long last. So Oko found his wings in waterways, and we know the second wings was in White Palace, which was incredible. We also saw both claws.
Also,
What else do we?
where was that first claw? Because I was like,
Oh, it was at the Grim tent. And Grimchild was in the King's Station Gauntlet.
and why didn't you just go beat him, DFT?
I don't want to talk about it. I kept getting the Grim Child thing, and then I didn't know you could warp to your bench after you deploy it. So.
Oh, ouch.
What was behind the Grim fight? Just 'cause I'm curious.
Yeah, at Charm Notch Grim.
It would have been perfect if it was a dream now.
That's what we were saying. We're
Thankfully
hoping
it
for
wasn't.
your sake it was not that.
I wanted to do Abyss, and I did do it, but I forgot to go check that last one.
Yeah. Well, once you had Claw, like you were going down there, and we were like, "There's nothing down here that would even benefit you much besides like Dupe Claw." But even Dupe Claw didn't do that much for you.
It did.
That
What
jump
did
that jump to Collector is doable. You just need an Apex double jump. So it was not claw locked. And similarly, you had failed champion with just wings as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not very good at failed champion, and you saw me trying there. I wasn't actually getting it.
Yeah,
So-
you're just jumping a little bit too early. You have to make sure that you let yourself get to your absolute peak of your jump.
Okay, yeah.
Because you're
I'll
canceling
keep that in
it
mind.
too early. But yeah, that's
So
a-
Charm Notch Grim was thankfully just an arcane egg, so wouldn't have done much for the race in either direction.
That's good.
That was the best Trader Lord fight I've ever had in my life.
It was very clean.
Last thing I'm curious about, I think, is where Joni's blessing was.
Joni's blessing was at Vessel Fragment Deep Nest, which we really didn't see Deep Nest much from either player.
Yeah, with Lantern at
Uh,
God Tuner.
yeah.
No.
Weren't gonna find that. I don't think either of you guys were getting that anytime soon.
No.
Trying to look at the board and see if we had any other questions for you guys, but I think most of this was pretty like we saw most of the map and most of the
I was
most
really
of the
hoping
items.
it'd come down to Path of Pain.
Yeah.
If that would have required a whole lot more Dream Nails to suddenly make themselves known.
We would have been doing Colo too.
Yeah,
Yep.
would have been some
Well,
content.
by the way,
to chat's question, what's at Hive? Hive Blood was another dash.
Yeah,
Uh,
Dash
oh,
came pretty early.
Yeah. The clearing of my Intragod home was a punch in the gut. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a thing where it's like, okay, you were in Godhome, but it is actually like a pretty sizable difference in time between when you marked it and when the text appears. It's like a 10 or 15 second thing, so we kind of have to make sure that we stick by the rules on those sort of things.
Yeah. Now I
And
know.
Worth noting at that point, as for the race, DFT did still not have Dream Nail, so it wasn't like it was in a position to snipe it from you after you had it unmarked.
Yeah.
This is
Oh.
the second match that I couldn't find a dream now. I didn't get mine in the last one with Mage either.
Yeah, I was mentioning like
And
at
there
the
were so
start of
many.
it. Oh yeah, go
ahead.
for it. Sorry.
I was just gonna say there were so many. There were a lot more goals last race that were nail locked. This one was. I mean, there was a lot of dream nail
was
goals
8.
too. So
Like,
yeah,
that's
rough.
almost a third of the bowl. The third of the board. Like, yeah, that's a lot of goals.
Oh, I would say thanks so much for playing DFTz. I had such a great time. And great job, comms. I'm sure you did a good job.
Hey, thanks.
yeah. Thanks, guys. This was fun.
Awesome. Yeah, so there's another race going on in I believe it's it's not 3 hours from now, but it's 3 hours from the start of this race, so it's going to be in an hour and a half. That's going to be between Shu and Sour Cream Supreme.
That is a loser's bracket match, so that'll be for elimination.
Ooh,
The first ones we've seen.
Ouch.
And I believe you're on commentary for that, right, Quack?
Yep, it is me and Sir Squeeble, if I'm not mistaken.
And then tomorrow's going to be an exciting day for Hollow Knight Racing as well. We've got 3 winners bracket, or upper bracket matches rather, between Absolutely Ash and Cake Sauce, and then we've got Akkard versus Ash to Smurf, and then ending off the night with Hamothity versus Cthulhu. So
Man, that's a stacked day.
yeah, a lot of really, really high profile races happening tomorrow. So definitely stick around if you've been enjoying the races. There will be some good content coming up.
Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, GG's.
GG's to both runners. Good luck in your next matches as well.
See ya.
Will do.